edition of Peter Abigail Foundation Let's Talk series. And the theme of our meeting is finding our purpose as immigrants. And on this show tonight, this afternoon, I have with me two guest speakers, Professor John Adejinle Babalola. He's a medical doctor. And I also have Dr. Olatunde Adepoju. They will both be talking to us today on how we can find our purpose as immigrants. Before I call on the first speaker, the first guest speaker this afternoon, I would like to go over our mission and vision as Peter Abigail Foundation. The mission of Peter Abigail Foundation is to encourage and empower immigrants achieve their dreams by making them aware of government incentives and resources that are available, especially in times of need. Our vision, we achieve this by providing information, organizing seminars, webinars, and retreats. Additionally, we promote inclusion through community involvement and collaboration, organize and collate informational resources for immigrants, encourage them to come together and be more interactive in commerce, business, and politics, among others, encourage religious bodies to be more involved in their congregational welfare, and also highlight immigrant achievement in the United States and worldwide. Today, our focus will be on our personal development. And so our first speaker today will be Dr. Tunde Adepoju. He's a graduate of Morehouse College in Atlanta with a degree in banking and finance, a Master of Public Administration degree in finance, Master of Ministry degree in leadership and empower enhancement, and a doctorate in leadership of church, ministry, and secular organization. His dissertation topic was increase of leadership principles among youth. Dr. Olatunde Adepoju is committed to changing the focus of leadership. He believes an organization succeeds on both technical training and people development. He is an author of several published books and articles and a mentor and coach to many. He is a past president of the Nigerian Ministers Fellowship, NMF, in Georgia. He currently serves as a board member of 6 organizations in United States, Nigeria, and South Africa, including the Peter Abigail Foundation. He is employed by the United States government, and serve on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee in Georgia. He is ordained minister. He is an ordained minister, teacher, and coach. He is married to the love of his life, Pastor Bola Adepoju, and blessed with 2 beautiful children and grandchildren. Today is going to be our first speaker. The floor is open to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Pastor Gumola, and thank you, Peter Abigail Foundation, for the opportunity to share with the people. I want to let you know that I'm not taking it for granted. It's always a pleasure to be a blessing to people. After all, if you know anything and you don't have anybody to share it, of what good is it? So an opportunity like this is an opportunity to share with people and be a blessing to people. So I'm not taking it for granted. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to be sharing first because it's immigrants finding their purpose in the land. And when it's about purpose, for you to know your purpose, the first thing is you have to know yourself. To know your purpose, what am I good in doing? Then I can now share what I know to do that I've developed in myself and reach out to other people. So that's why I'm taking, who are you? You have to be able to define yourself first before you can think of finding your purpose, even in a strange land. We thank you. We thank you for this day that you have made. We'll be glad we rejoice in it. We thank you because you know what you have, the plans you have every day. We thank you because you are in the program of today. Lord in heaven, we are not doing anything outside of you. Holy Spirit of the living God, we ask for your presence, even in what we are doing today. And let whatever we share today, let it be a word that will germinate in the, not only in the lives of these people, but the lives they will impact. In the name of Jesus. It's all about you and none of us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name. Amen. So my topic is who are you? Who are you? What is your identity? And I'm presenting this on behalf of Peter Abigail Foundation, and the theme of this is finding our purpose as immigrants. And my story is a story that every immigrant can relate with. Whatever we're discussing today is not anything that happened 2,000 years ago. It's not anything that is strange that you don't know about, because I am the story. So that's why I want to start by sharing a little bit about myself, so that as we go along, you see that you can relate my story with what I'm saying. I came to this country the first time to get my education, and I graduated my first degree, my second degree. I got a job with a bank here and eventually transitioned to Nigeria to start the previous Trans International Bank. And I grew over there to a point that I became involved, not that I wanted to, but became involved in the politics there. And as you may all know, the politics there is not interesting, particularly if it has to do with corruption and, mismanaging and all that, which was not part of my training here. So I got into a breach there and I had to take a decision. In fact, it was so serious that it threatened my life. So I had to make a decision to come back to the US, and eventually got my family back into the US. Now, I mean, you can know that I'm an immigrant in this country. The first thing I did was I started doing whatever I could do, which was driving a taxi. And I'm not in any way saying, belittling driving a taxi, but I know we all can do even much more than that. I mean, if you do it and have your millions in it, that's fine. Maybe that's your place. So it's not as if it's minimized in any way. But after doing that, because when I came, I just did what I had to do to sustain my family, sustain myself, and all that. So one day, it just dawned on me, even in the process, the church that I was in Nigeria, wanted me. So I pioneered their church here in the US. And with some discussion, I became a full-time pastor, which I did for about 4 or 5 years. So one day I just determined in myself, I can do better. Just decided to go on the altar and prayed for a whole day from 7 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And God told me to do two things. He said, get a job and go back to school. I can remember it vividly like it happened yesterday. And I decided to do both. And both paid off for me, because in going to school, I was able to discover myself, to know what gift I have. I've been doing finance all my life. Finance has been paying my bills and all that, but that was not my passion. Everybody should be able to know who they are, identify where their passion is, and follow your passion. You can't do everything, but if you follow your passion, your success percentage is very high, if you follow your passion. So, and that was exactly what I did. In the process of going back to school, I took a course that analyzed human behavior. And I was able to know myself. And as it turned out, that was the principal thing I did for my doctoral research. I brought 85 people together, developed a lesson plan to address those issues, and it made a 65% increase in their lives. So it's something that not only happened to me, it's something I've done with other people, and in a way has affected them positively. So what I'm doing today is a passion that I have. And even as immigrants in this country, if we can just discover ourselves and we know where our passion is and just follow it, spend time and when necessary money to develop your passion. And at the end of the day, you will thank God first, and maybe someday you look for me and say, thank you for sharing this. So having said that, I'm going to go to my PowerPoint because I have only 30 minutes and it looks like 14 minutes of the 30 minutes is done. So anyway, I will share the up to the point where it's important. I think PowerPoint 10, 1 to 10 are the most important things. But the follow-up, I already emailed the PowerPoint to our host. So he's free to share it with everybody. All the other things are just statements of facts to allow you to know who you really are. They are defining factors that will let you know who am I. So just flow with me as I go. Now, the first thing that is important is that when we are saying, who are you? I'm not asking for your name. Even on this platform, I can see all the names, you know. So asking for your name is not what I'm asking for. When I say, who are you? I'm saying, who has God created you to be? And I'm going to use these two scriptures. Hopefully everybody on the line are Christians and they can flow with me. Now, God said to Jeremiah in Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you as a prophet to the nations. That was a particular reference to Jeremiah, that God created Jeremiah and had a purpose for him, just like God created each and every one of us and has a purpose for us. I'm not, like I said, your purpose may be driving cab and being a millionaire through driving cab. If that's your purpose, so be it. But I'm just telling you that it's not for everybody, even as an immigrant. There are so many other things that we can do and be successful at doing. So that scripture was for Jeremiah. But eventually, a scripture for every one of us is Ephesians 2:10, which says, for we are a small workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. That means before you were born, the God of heaven knew you because you are the workmanship of his son. If he created you and had nothing for you to do, it's a wasted effort. So that's why I said, you are the workmanship of his hand, created in Christ Jesus for good works, for good works, for good works. So you have to walk in the area of your passion to be able to make a good work. And it says that which God prepared beforehand, before we were even born, that you should just, when you are born, find it and walk in them. So to find your purpose, you have to find who you are and know what God has prepared you to do. So I cannot overemphasize that. Then there's another scripture that I didn't put here that says in Deuteronomy 11:24, that says that wherever the soles of your feet shall step upon, you shall possess. That means it doesn't matter. You may be born in Nigeria and then come to America. It's still your land because it's God's land. So we are not limited to what we can do anywhere, any place. That's the point. So on this slide now, this was what I did for my doctoral dissertation. So I've studied in depth about all the differences that we have and what makes us up, even as a person. The 35 things that make you up as a person. It's what makes you different from the next person to you. So you can imagine that if we have 35 areas, if you are lucky enough, you probably agree with some people in 5 areas, and 30 areas you are different. That's why it becomes very, very, very important that we work with everybody and get along with everybody so that whatever can do can be impactful and can help the whole world, so that when our stories are written, we will have a good story to tell. So I studied as many as 35 areas of metaprogramming. When I say metaprogramming, the things that we don't get to decide, none of us decided to be a male or a female. It was a metaprogramming by God that, okay, you are a male, you are a female. And as you all know, how males and females react are different. That's a difference right there. So when you are dealing with any woman, you know that you are doing things differently, and there has to be a way for you to work together to make your relationship succeed. So gender is a meta programming. Parenting, we don't have the choice of parents that we have. And where we were born in Nigeria, born in the US, born in South Africa, born wherever you are born, you don't have a choice. So you are meta programmed to do that. And the other things that affect us are how we grew up, where we grew up, where we have been, who we have met, what we studied in school. You will be surprised that even what we studied in school has an impact on who we are, or it moderates who we are. If you're a particular person, let's say, if you're a particular person that is very authoritative, you like to have your way all the time. If you go to school and have a good education, it will relax because you'll be more liberal because you have to deal with people. So I can tell you a whole lot about all of that, but in the coming PowerPoints, I will just share the one that controls every other of those 35. There's one that has an impact on how we handle all the 34 areas, which is our personality. I will spend time on that, and I will use an example of how personality affects 2 areas. It was just this morning when I was praying that I got, a revelation that I should include the second part of it. So I adjusted the slide. So that may be missing on the slide that will be sent to you all. So all of these makeups, that is all of the 35 areas, they are propelled by our personality. Personality is one that will determine how you handle all of the rest, even in relating with people. I hope everybody is with me so far. If you are with me, just give me a symbol, yay. Is anybody with me? Did I lose anybody? Okay, good. So I'm going to go to the next slide, which is, okay, that's my book right there that talks about all of those 35 areas. It was my doctoral dissertation, and I developed it into a book that everybody can read and understand. And I made all the items there, I made them simple. I use simple language. So that is the book there. So if you are inquisitive about reading about all of those things, you get it from that book. Now, let's now go to the next slide, which is the personality slide. Now, this is one thing that affects every other of the 34 areas. The personality, there are just 4 types, and I tried to make it simple. The scientific names are sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholic. But I made it to sanguine is a popular person. A popular person is somebody who likes to interact with people. Everybody is their friend. And I'm sure you know people like that. And they may be a little disorganized, they may come late. That's why when some people come late, we don't encourage them, but at least we know who they are. Those are popular people because they have a lot going on that organizing is a little bit difficult for them. And that's why we'll see that if you're a popular person in your life or in anything that you do, any organization you find yourself, you need those other personalities to make everything work together. Okay? And we have the choleric person, which is the powerful person. And those are the people who like to have their way in everything. It could be their way or the highway. Sometimes when we get an education, it's a little minimized, but those things are very important. So, and I have a way of identifying those people after doing this for a long time. Like the popular person, when I see somebody that's wearing something colorful, you'll be amazed at the little things that you do that defines you and you don't know. Or you get into a car and everything is all over the place. You know that's a popular person. That's a sanguine person. Okay? Then you have the powerful personality that they have to, everything has to be done their way. And it doesn't mean that it's evil in any way. It's just that they are very focused on what they are doing. And you have the phlegmatic person who is a peaceful person. And I would say something a little with each of those, how they interact with each other. A peaceful person is wherever they find themselves, they are looking for peace always. And in any environment, you need people like that who can make peace, who can allow peace. You need them too. And of course, you have the melancholic person who is the perfect person. Everything about them must be done like a perfect way. Like you have to cross your T's and dot your I's. If they are going to go with you somewhere next week, they already have it programmed on their calendar. They think ahead of time. Everything has to be done. Even though those people sometimes it's always very difficult for them to adjust. Now, let me let you know how they relate. Now, if you have ever done the test and you find yourself to be a choleric person, the most times choleric people will take sanguine as their second personality. We call them cholsang, choleric sanguine. Those are the powerful people and they like to be popular. That's the blood relation. That means more times you see choleric people that take sanguine with them. But also, even though if they don't relate to the sanguine, there might be choleric and perfect. That means they have to have their way and it has to be specific way. They don't waver. And like I've always said, in my relationship with people that are called male, they are the people that are most difficult to deal with because apart from they like to have their way, it has to be done a certain way. So if you're a choleric person, you either take sanguine with you more times or melancholic. Now, the phlegmatic is a peaceful person. The peaceful person, we call them, I have the arrow masked because they need peace. They can relate with everybody. They can adjust themselves and relate with everybody. It doesn't mean that being peaceful is the best, but because sometimes they can be too laid back and allow things to happen, and people take advantage of them too. So those are the dynamics of it. So you have the phlegmatic, which is the peaceful, and most times the blood relation of a phlegmatic is melancholic. That means they're peaceful, but they like things to be done a certain way. The second option is for them to be phlegmatic sanguine. That's what I used to be. I used to be a phlegmatic sanguine. But with my education and being a Christian, my sanguine has reduced so much that I'm just between phlegmatic sanguine or phlegmatic melancholic person. So I hope what I've been able to say you will understand because my time is fast moving. Now, having said all of this is connected. This controls how we relate in every other area, which are the 35 areas. But just to make it simple, I just want to go through these two areas, personalities versus your learning style. In the 35 areas, we have different learning styles. Some people, I make it simple, they have scientific names like analytical people, people who are common sense people, but to make it simple, the four learning styles, I've described them as the hook style, Hook, the book style, Book, the look style, Look, or the took style, Took. Everything is explained in my book. Now, if you are the hook person, these are people who learn by you telling them, teaching them through stories or powerful statements or jokes. That's their style. That's how they learn best. So even when we are making presentation, we must be conscious of those four areas to address those four areas. And with the PowerPoint that I've developed, I've addressed those four areas. One of them, which is the hook, was telling my story, because my story is what some people will learn from. Every other thing may not mean anything to them, okay? And of course, the book style, you can read the PowerPoints now and see. For those people who want everything in black and white, you can read it. The look style are the imaginative people, like you have to make everything practical to them. And I think even with telling my story, they've learned that. And the hook style are people that, okay, after you have said everything, what's my take home point? And in these four learning styles, the hook, the book, the took, look, and the took, you, with the four personalities, you can identify, I can easily tell you that a melancholic person, which is a perfect person, will learn better through book style, which is everything has to be black and white. I hope I'm communicating with everybody. So it has a bearing. Most times when you see people who likes to, do everything, cross their T's and dot their I's, they are the people that are perfect people in personality. So even when you see people and they say, okay, show me where that is written. Show me that where that is written. Even though they have not said much, but they have said they're a melancholic person, they're a perfect person. So the little things that we do, either we like it or not, they define us. And let me go to the second one. How about religious differences? And these religious differences, I don't want us to see it as being a Christian or being a Muslim. It's beyond all of that. Even as a Christian, we have Methodists, we have Baptists, we have KNS, we have people we call born-again Christians. Even within us born-again Christians, we have four classes because we process things differently. Now, I'll give you that because I know that this platform, that will be relevant to this platform. The religious differences, which was just what I included this morning. As Christians, we have Christians that are Pentecostals, and there's a personality that can easily be, identified with that. Pentecostals. There are some that are charismatic. There are some that are evangelicals, and there are some that we call cessationists. Okay? Now, even we being Christians, even with husband and wife, sometimes it's different. And those are things that we need to continue to address to be able to get along. And that is why, with all these differences, it's always so much important that we learn to get along with people. Now, the Pentecostal people are the people that they have to pray concerning everything. When they are going to eat, they have to pray. When they are getting in their car, they pray. When they're on the road, they pray. Those are Pentecostal people. When you see somebody that everything about them, prayer, 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 prayer. I'm not saying it's bad. That's who they are, okay? The charismatic are the people who believe that once I pray in the morning, God has my back. They're also Christians. They don't do a whole lot of prayer, but they just believe that God orders their day. So you see that even in the Christian environment, we still have differences. Evangelicals are people who are about, being born again and living a Holy Spirit-filled life. That's their belief. That's what runs their lives. And the cessationist people are the people that they believe that The Holy Spirit just appears to you once, maybe when you gave your life or when the church is started, that every other thing is controlled. So you see what I'm talking about. And each of those religious differences, like when you look at the Pentecostals that pray about everything, and they must pray about everything, most of them will normally be choleric people. So having said all of that, without wanting to waste time, I know that I've said a whole lot, and you know the four personalities, but if you want to identify yourself and find your purpose in this land, you must know first who you are. Who you are, you don't need a training. There is naturally you, but you have to embody the other one so that you can be more successful in whatever you do. I hope I'm communicating. So the next slide talks about simplify who you are. Now, instead of going through all the personality stuff, let's just simplify it and make it two. Naturally, you are either a task-oriented person or people-motivated. It's either or of those two. If you are not task-driven, you are probably people-motivated. But if you are task-driven, it doesn't make you a bad person. That's who you are. But of course, you have to learn how to motivate people. Because the important thing is that I don't care what you know how to do. I don't care if you know who, the population that you are supposed to reach. You have to be able to relate with people. That is so important. And I cannot overemphasize that. So you have to know, are you task-oriented or people-motivated? Either of those two. And in the next slide, I told you the first 10 are the most important. I stress the importance of relating with people. Because if you want to find your purpose and you cannot, I don't care whatever gift you have, if you cannot relate with people, you won't get anywhere. So I made all these facts here so that we'll know the importance of, regardless of who we are. Either you're a choleric person, you have to get along with a phlegmatic person. You have to get along with a popular person. You have to get along with a peaceful person. Okay? And those are so important. And these are facts that I wrote here so that we all can grab. As diverse as and as different as we all are, it's still important that we relate with each other. Okay? One single characteristic needed to succeed in life is the ability to work with people. That's what I just stressed. That if you have all the gift in this world and you know where you are going and you cannot relate with people, you can't be successful. Even if you find your purpose, you'll never be successful. If you live alone, this was a saying that my father taught me when I was young. If you live alone, you suffer alone and you will die alone. You don't want to be a loner in anything. Even when you discover your gifts, you don't want to be a loner. The average person spends 3/4 of his or her day dealing with people. And know that everybody can relate with that. And some of us, we deal with people like maybe 25 hours of the day because we have to deal with our wives, even though we are different, or our husbands, okay? And the last one is success comes by 87% of people knowledge and 13% know-how. That means if you know what you are doing so well and you are passionate about it, you are only 13% successful. 87% to make it 100% is relating with people. So, and the last one, which is 10, you can read the rest. I don't want to take our time because it looks like I've come past my time. You have to know that to make it very, very simple, people motivated individuals are natural leaders. They know where they want to reach, and task-oriented individuals are managers. They know exactly what to do to get the maximum benefit. So none of this can be minimized. They all have their strengths, but we must train ourselves to be able to deal with the others. So having said all of that, let me just go to the last slide. All the other ones are statements to decide, are you a manager or are you a leader? But the last slide is this. In conclusion, you must know what you do best and you enjoy doing, and do it. When we are talking about purpose, know what you do best and what you enjoy doing, and do it. You can't be a master of everything. Successful people do a few things. God has created you to do something. Are you aware of that thing? And that is where you grow from the passion. Because when you identify, you see that even when they don't pay you, you enjoy doing it anyway because you are passionate about it. If you discover your passion, you have to look for a way, expertise. That means to make yourself better. Sometimes it might be practical training, sometimes it might be education. What I did was I got an education. When I discovered myself, that was when I decided to go for the doctoral degree. And that is what I do. That is what makes me more money today when I don't even expect than anything else. Of course, if you develop your passion, you spend on it, then it becomes money to you. So that is the end of my presentation. I know that I'm about 40 minutes there. I thank you for listening to me, and I hope in a way you have learned something. Thank you, and thank you again. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Latunde Adepoju. We've learned something there, and I know a lot of us have questions and answers, which I'd like us to keep to the end of this talk. After the second speaker, we'll be taking questions and answers. Dr. Babalola studied medicine at the top-rated University of Wisconsin Medical School after graduating with a Bachelor of Science with honors and a Master of Science in Biochemistry. He called drug metabolism and toxicology from the world-class University of Ibadan, Nigeria. He has a Master of Public Health degree with specialization in environmental health science and toxicology, and a Doctor of Theology with focus on philosophy and theology. Apostle Professor John Adejinle Babalola is the presiding past apostle of Living Water Kingdom Ministry. He has been called, anointed, and sent by God to preach and teach believers that they can do all things through Christ that strengthens them. He has been in the gospel ministry since 1982. He has conducted medical missions in Nigeria and Haiti. He has ministered the gospel in a number of countries around the world. He is the director of Sovic Leadership Institute, New York. He served as a minister at Bethlehem Assembly, Valley Stream, New York. You are welcome, sir, Dr. Babalola Adejinle.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the conference organizer for inviting me, and thank you all for joining all around the world. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation and the honor of being invited to speak on this topic, discovering and achieving your life purpose. I'm going to first start with how to discover your life purpose. And I will be going in a sequential way to discover your life purpose, building on what Dr. Adepoju just shared with all of us. Knowing and achieving your life purpose and goals is a deeply personal journey. It has to be particular to you and particular to your situation. But there are general steps that can guide you and everyone in achieving your life purpose. The first step is you need to have a self-reflection of who you are. You need to take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. What is the purpose of your life? What matters to you? What will be important at the end of your life that you have done with your life? What brings you joy? What brings you happiness when you do it? And what brings you fulfillment? These are the ways to take self-reflection. And then, what are you passionate about? What drives you? What are the problems in the world that worries you that you want to provide solution for? That is your passion. What are the things that you enjoy doing? What are the things you have skill to do? What are the things people tell you that you do well? So we have to take self-reflection, this self-awareness will help you to understand your values. That is, what are the things that are important? What are the principles of your life? And it will also help you to understand your aspiration. What do you aspire to be? What you aspire to accomplish? Second thing is you need to set clear goals. Setting clear goals means you have to define SMART goals. And I use SMART as an acronym, meaning SMART, S-A-R-T, S-M-A-R-T. First, you have to define specific goals. Don't just have only general goals. You have to have specific goals in your life. The M stands for you have to have measurable goals. The things you can quantify after a time period. Thirdly, you have to have achievable goals. You have to know things that are achievable, but also keep in mind to make sure that you have goals that you can, will need God for you to achieve it. You will need to strain yourself to achieve it. Don't just look for easy achievable goals, but also things that will take your strength and everything that's in you. So set achievable goals. Next is set relevant goals. The R is relevant goals. The goals have to be relevant to your situation, relevant to your lives, relevant to your society, relevant to your community. Then set time-bound goals, meaning you have to evaluate how much you need to achieve in 6 months, how much you need to achieve in a year, how much you need to achieve in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So you have to set clear goals. You have to define SMART goals, define specific goals, measurable goals, achievable goals, relevant goals, and time-bound goals. So these SMART goals will align your values and purpose. And you need to break down the larger goals into smaller, manageable goals. Next, you need to create a vision. You have to visualize what achieving your goals will look like. You have to visualize what living your purpose will look like. You have to create a vision board, write your vision in a conspicuous place, whether on your wall or on your iPad or any way that you will be able to see your vision and keep it in mind so that you can keep it in focus and achieve and work on it. You need to create a vision board or write it down, your vision, to keep it visible and remind you daily. Like the prophet said, write the vision and make it plain so that the people that are running will run with the goal. Or another translation says, so that while you're running, you run with the goal in mind. So write down a vision, create a vision board so that you keep it visible and to remind you daily. Next is develop a plan. You need to outline actionable steps and strategies to reach your goal. You will break down your goal into steps you need to take. This could include acquiring new skills or going to school, getting new skills that you need to change your direction in life or to increase your creativity or your productivity in the same area you are. You need to acquire new skills. Second, you could seek mentorship. Somebody that will mentor you and tell you by their life and what they've done before. They can give you advice on what to do and what not to do and how to do it. And you need mentors in your life, in every area of your life, whether it's academic, professional, business, or ministry. You need to have mentors in your life. Then you need networking. You should not go it alone. You need to have a band of brothers with you that will brainstorm with you or work with you in achieving your life goals and discovering your life goals. Then you need to dedicate regular time to work towards your objective. Next, you need to stay committed. Committed and consistency are the key to achieving long-term goals. You cannot work on something so major as your life purpose, and you do it once in a while, haphazardly, or you forget about it and don't do it for a while. You need to stay committed and be consistent in achieving your long-term goals. You need to stay focused, motivated, and disciplined. Even when faced with challenges or setbacks, you need to stay committed. Next, review and adjust. You need to regularly review your progress towards your goals and see how well you are going towards your goal, what you are achieving each of the steps. You will need to assess what's working and what is not working, and what you need with the areas that you need to adjust. Be open to learning and adapt changes. Redefine your approach as needed. Next, you need to seek support. You need to surround yourself with supportive influence. You need to surround yourself with positive influences. You need to seek guidance from mentors, from coaches, and from your peers who can provide encouragement, who can provide advice on different issues or different challenges, and who can keep you accountable. Your mentors can keep you accountable. Your coach can keep you accountable. Your peers can keep you accountable. Next is you need to practice self-care. You need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your whole self. We are spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body. You cannot leave one out and only focus on one or two areas. You need to practice self-care for your physical body. You need to take care of yourself. You need to maintain your health, to take care of your body, because it's only when you are alive in your physical body that you can achieve your life goal. As soon as you pass away, your life goal on this earth ends. So you need to take care of your physical body. You need to take care of your soul, your mind, your will, your emotions. If you need healthcare counsel, mental health counsel, or support, you need to see such expert. But you need to keep everything in balance. You need to develop your spiritual life so that your goals will be God-oriented, will be spirit-oriented. So you need to practice self-care to take care of your physical body, your mental health, your emotional well-being, and then prioritize self-care to recharge you and to maintain energy and resilience. Another thing that you should do is to celebrate milestones. You will need to acknowledge and celebrate your achievements. Each step you achieve, you need to celebrate. That will motivate you to go on to the next step, to go on to the next goal, to go on to the next purpose. Acknowledge and celebrate your achievements and milestones along the way to your goal. This boosts your confidence. It creates motivation and a sense of accomplishment, so that your next step will be motivated by the celebration and the achievement of the previous step. Then you need to stay connected to your purpose. Regularly reconnect with your purpose and your values to ensure that your goals are aligned with what truly matters to you. Adjust your goals if necessary to stay true to your evolving sense of purpose. By following these steps and staying committed to your journey, you can gain clarity on your life purpose and take meaningful steps towards your life goal. Now, I'm going to now go on to how to achieve your life purpose. Some of these strategies will overlap in discovering your life purpose and achieving your life purpose. So first, like we said, self-discovery, you need to reflect on your values. You need to reflect on your passions. And then you need to know the areas of your strength and the areas of your weakness. You need to know your areas of your interest, and you need to help you gain clarity on your life purpose. You need to know your values. You need to know your passion, what you are passionate about. You need to know where you are strong, whether you recognize it yourself or people tell you this is the area that you are strong, or this is the area God uses it well, or your colleagues at work tell you, they'll give you feedback on what you do well and your interests. What brings you joy when you do it? What brings you fulfillment? What impact you want to make in the world? That will help you in achieving your life purpose. Next is set meaningful goals. Like I shared before, based on the SMART goals, your understanding of your purpose will increase. You need to set SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-focused goals, and break them down in smaller milestones so that it's easier for you to track your progress. Make sure you have SMART goals. Create a plan. You need to develop strategic plan that outlines the actions you need to take to achieve your goals. You have a goal, but you need plans for steps in achieving those goals. Identify the resources and skill and the support system required along the way. You need to identify the resources you need, whether skill, resource, finance, and you need to have support system, mentors, trainers, coaches, and everything that you need to achieve your goal. Next, take consistent action. Execute your plan consistently. Stay disciplined and committed to your goal. Don't be distracted. It is okay to have other things in your life that you have to do, but you need to stay disciplined to your life goal. Stay committed to your life goal. Even when you are faced with challenges, you stay committed. When you are faced with setbacks, you stay committed to your life purpose and your life goals. Setback will help you to reevaluate your approach, your strategy. Setback will help you to change plans, but setback should not derail you from your life goal. Regularly assess your progress and adjust your approach. Evaluate how well you are doing in achieving your life purpose. Next, embrace learning. You need to be open to learning and growth. Along the way, in executing your life purpose, you need to open to learning strategies, learning how to execute your plans, learning, for instance, how to deal with people, learning how to be better on a task. Be open to learning and growth. Acquire new knowledge, acquire new skills along the way, and experiences that align with your purpose will help you to achieve your purpose. This conference, for instance, is helping you in discovering your life purpose and to help you to achieve your life purpose. Next is stay flexible. Stay flexible. Life may present unexpected opportunities that you need to take. It may not be on your plan, but when this event happen in your life, you need to be able to stay flexible. And when an unexpected opportunity comes along, you need to take it as it aligns with your life purpose. Even when obstacles come your way, you need to approach it with a strategy and know that life happens. There are obstacles, there are challenges in life. It doesn't mean you're going to stop or slow down on your life purpose. You need to stay adaptable and willing to adjust your life plans or explore new direction that still align with your purpose. Like I said earlier, practice self-care. Take care of your physical and mental health, emotional well-being. Maintain balance. That is, make a balance between your work and rest, make a balance between your life and your spiritual development. Have self-care, make time for prayer, make time for the study of the word, make time for fellowship, make time for relaxation, make time for games. Work hard when it's time for work, play hard when it's time to play. Practice self-care. Maintaining balance and managing stress is crucial for your long-term success and fulfillment. Make sure you have things to do to address stress so that you are not all working at the same time. No time to relax, so that you manage stress well. Next is to celebrate milestones. Acknowledge and celebrate achievements on the way, no matter how small. Recognize your progress and use it as motivation to keep pursuing your purpose. Remember that achieving your purpose is a journey rather than a destination. So you have to keep working on it. When you achieve, you set the next goal, set the next step, set the next expectation. Stay patient, but be persistent, be purposeful as you work towards creating a meaningful and fulfilling life. Beyond living and achieving your life purpose, you need to plan to make a life of impact. You need to live a life of impact. That is, it involves making meaningful contributions to the world around you. Obviously, you have to define your values. You have to identify your passion. You have to set impactful goals for your society, for your community, for your nation. You need to take action and engage your activities and initiatives that contribute to making impact and positive change. You should know to collaborate with like-minded people so that iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. And a threefold cord cannot be easily broken. One shall chase 1,000, two shall put 10,000 to flight. You need to continuously learn and grow to make a life of impact. You need to be adaptable and measure and evaluate your goals as you go on the way. You need to inspire others to make a life of impact. You need to lead by example and inspire others to join you in creating a positive change. Encourage empathy, kindness, and collaboration within your circle of influence. And your group needs to practice self-care. We need to live a life of purpose that leaves a legacy. That involves creating a lasting impact and contribution that extends beyond your lifetime. Are some steps. Obviously, you clarify your values, you define your purpose, you set goals, you take action. You will need to document your journey. Keep a record of your experiences, your achievements, and your lessons learned. Documenting your journey can inspire others and provide insight into your motivation and values and how you achieve those. Next, you should share your knowledge. Share your knowledge, share your skill, share your experiences with others. Provide mentorship, teaching, writing, or speaking engagements that can help pass on your wisdom and your expertise. Next, build relationships. You need to cultivate meaningful relationships with people who share your values and your vision. You need to collaborate with like-minded individuals and organizations to amplify your impact. You need to invest in future generations. You need to consider how your legacy can benefit future generations. This will involve supporting education, environmental conservation, for instance, healthcare, business, entrepreneurship, social justice initiatives. You need to live your values. Lead by example and embody the values and principles you want to be remembered for. integrity, kindness, empathy, and resilience can leave a lasting impression. Reflect and adapt. Regularly reflect on your progress and reassess your goals and actions. Stay adaptable and open to evolving legacy based on the feedback and changing circumstances in your society. By intentionally crafting your legacy and taking meaningful actions aligned with your values, you can leave a positive and enduring impact on the world and future generations. We can also apply this principle to how to discover your spiritual purpose. We need to hear from God clearly. We need to receive a vision from God. We need to obey the heavenly vision, and we need to remain focused on our vision of our spiritual life. Our spiritual life goals are the general spiritual life goals are 5. First, you are made for God's purpose. That is, you are made to worship God. Next, you are formed for a family, fellowship. Next, you are created to become like Christ, discipleship. You have to imbibe the life of Christ. You have to imbibe the word of Christ. You have to live like Christ will live according to his lifestyle and according to his teaching. You were shaped for a family, that is fellowship. You are planned for God's pleasure, worship. Looks like I'm going in the wrong direction. You are formed for a family, that is fellowship in your church. You are created to become like Christ, discipleship. You are shaped for serving God, ministry. And when you are shaped for a mission, evangelism. So these are some of the ways that you can discover your purpose and you can achieve your purpose. I thank you very much for listening. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. We thank God for what we are able to learn today. The only problem we have is that each speaker should have just have in the whole day. I mean, shifting into 2 makes it for our speakers to just mention some phrases instead of going deep into the lecture. But we thank God for everything. I mean, we thank God for people that are here. So people of God, what we need to do now is question and answer. It's for us to ask questions. It's for us to ask questions. So anybody that wants to ask question, please indicate or send it to the chat box if you cannot talk, so that we could do with them as quickly as possible. Question and answer. Questions, please. Anybody with questions, please let us indicate or mute yourself and ask question. Who wants to go first? By the time people are preparing to ask questions, I want to ask our first speaker, Dr. Olatunde Adepoju, this question. You said something about differences. You always mention, you mentioned something about different, but can you name some of the other areas of our differences? We just know a little one. Can you name the others? So please.
Yes. Am I on? Okay. Yes. I can give you several. Actually, aside from personality, I discussed learning styles.
Yes, sir.
The hook, the book, the took, and the look styles. Those are the 4 learning styles. Religious differences, I explained that. Aside from being a major, maybe you are a Muslim or Christian, even under Christianity, you have, in my book, I mentioned everything. Methodists, you have even within the Christian community, there's still the division of who is a Pentecostal, who is a charismatic, who is an evangelical, all of those things. And there are so many other areas, giftings. We are gifted, according to the Bible, and it's not far, even in the what do I want to call it? The world, the 9 gifts in Ephesians 12. Is it? No, it's not Ephesians 12. Those 9, Romans 12. Those 9 gifts. Romans, don't let me confuse it. It's Romans, but I'm not sure if it's 12 or it sounds like it's 12. You have all those gifts. The gift of some people, they have the gift of just compassion. If anything happens to you, they can't help you, tell you to do this. They'll cry with you, and they have that gift. And there are some people who are just hands-on people, in churches, all of those gifts. So that's chapter 12 of my book, The Gifts. Personality is chapter 11. But there are so many other areas that I can tell you, okay, race is a difference. And we all know that. How you perceive things. Some people are they are positively motivated, and some people are negatively motivated. You can't explain that. Because sometimes you tell, okay, like a little child now, if you tell a little child, if you do this, I'll give you, cookie. It can motivate a child. But some children, it won't motivate them. If you tell me you want to give me cookie, so what? Until they know that they are going to lose something. Okay, I won't give you something. So even from little kids, we have to study all of those things. Who is positively motivated? Who is negatively motivated? Health can also be an issue. People with good health are always forward-looking and long-sighted. People who have health challenges, unfortunately, they are not the same. That's another difference. There are so many other things. Apart from health and health, there are some people, they are codependent. Without them, they think without them, nothing will happen. And all these things, and that's why the title of my book is The Leader and His Giant. Because if you are going to lead people, you have to strategize a way where you can take them from one point that they are to a better place. And for you to be able to do that, you have to understand them, what motivates them, what will add to them. Because if you don't understand them, you might be doing, something that it doesn't really make any difference to them. I can tell you, I can have a staff that I'll say, oh, okay, let us all go to the movies on Saturday. Some people will be motivated. Some of them will be like, movies, so what? You understand? But if you say you are going to a game, that might motivate them. Or some might be like, let's go for a training session about empowerment. That will be their motivation. So what motivates people are so different. Life scripting, listening skills, how we perceive things. Ethnicity, even in I'm not sure everybody here is Nigerian, but if everybody is not, the way an Ekiti man will behave is different from the way an Ibadan man will behave. All those things, they are literal things that make a difference. But in spite of all of those differences, we have to learn to get along. Okay? That's the bottom line. I don't know if I've been able to, at least I told you about 10, already. And there are some other things like, some people have unresolved issues, even in the workplace. Because I'm familiar with the workplace, some people have unresolved issues and they bring it to work, unfortunately. Some people have mental challenges. It's not everybody that's talking rubbish that is mentally at a disadvantage. Some people have issues that they are dealing with. Okay, let me give you an example. I hope I'm not taking too much of the time. There was a day there was a colleague of mine in the office that we were very friendly, and every time, you know, we interact and all that. And one morning I came and I said, "Good morning. How are you doing today?" And she didn't answer me. At that point in time, I knew that was not her. And eventually, and that is why so many times, even when we relate with people and we think they hurt us, they're not hurting us. You don't know their frame of mind for that day. And that's why I always say it's always better to ask people questions rather than just making your own judgment. If I had made a judgment that, oh, okay, because she didn't greet me today or she wasn't nice to me today, you know, something, and no, I went to her later and I said, "I greeted you this morning. Is everything okay with you?" And you know what he said? She said, "Today, it's not about you." And analyzed everything from when she woke up until that time. So many times we think people do things that hurt us. It may not be about us. It might be something else they're going through. And we have all of those things in the church, in the workplace, and we have to be cognizant of all of those things. You don't take offense. You don't take offense. And that is the way to relate with people. Beyond everything, that's the Christian way. I hope I've not said too much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. We see expecting, okay, somebody led, but before I go to the chat box, I have this question for my dear Professor Adejinle Babalola. You said something about learning and unlearning. Like we need to like imbibe new knowledge. We have to like read, we have to go forward. So but how do we, like, we're talking of we immigrants, we have our frame of mind when we come back, the way we were taught before we migrated to the United States of America. So how do we manage it without any conflicts? One, then secondly, how do we, when we unlearn and when we learn new things, then how do we adjust our purpose to suit ourselves without any conflict? Because most of the time there's always this conflict. This is the way we were brought up, you know. So thank you. Can you explain that further, sir?
Yes. When we have a change in our environment, we have to adapt to the new environment. What works in one environment or a society or a country may not necessarily apply directly. For instance, if you come from a different nation, you've grown up in a certain way, and you've come to expect life in a certain way. In my home country, education is the ultimate. So is it in the United States. But in the United States, it's a little different. There are people outside of going to school, for instance, people that are entrepreneurs and business developers that are successful in the United States. But we rarely see that example in my home country. So that's one of the things you have to unlearn and learn it differently. In United States, for instance, people that play football makes a lot of money. People that play soccer makes a lot of money. People that play basketball makes money also. Just like people in the traditional professions, law, engineering, medicine. But if you come with the mindset, when if your child gets interested in playing soccer or basketball or football, you are going to have an initial challenge accepting it. Not everybody that tries to play in sports in the United States succeed. They have to have plan B, I hope. Because some people who try to get into the NBA, they will not. But you have to have plan B for such situations. But people that get into football make millions of dollars. People that play basketball make millions of dollars. So those are some of the things we have to change when our environment change. But we should not all go into sports. We should not all go into medicine. We should not all be in finance. We should be in diverse areas of the society. We should be in entrepreneurship. We should start companies. We should run companies. We should get involved in local politics. We need to expand our area of influence so that we can live a life of impact, live a life of purpose according to how God has trained us, made us with our personality, with our skill, with our knowledge. We need to be in different areas of the society and make impact in the society.
Thank you very much, sir. I mean, that's good. But before you go, sir, I still have one area I want you to touch. Okay. And because, like you said, we have a mindset coming to this place. We need to learn and unlearn. Now we are learning. But you say we should celebrate our success. And an average person like me celebrates his money. I'm here to make money and to spend money to celebrate again. So you see, how can we do all this? Because we need to. Because somebody told me that, look, you immigrants, you will just stressing your life for America. Have you seen an average American work like you people do? Work, and slumber. So how do we celebrate? It's a very, very important thing. But how do we do it? At least we define that, yes, I satisfy myself that, yes, I need to do this thing and I'm doing it without thinking that I'm wasting money. Thank you, sir.
Well, when I say celebrate, I mean you need to, when you are living and trying to achieve your life purpose, you have several steps and goals along the way. When you achieve the first step, you need to stop and rejoice. It may not necessarily involve spending money or spending a lot of money. You need to stop and rejoice. You need to tell your friends, tell your family members. For instance, by the grace of God, I'm a general surgeon today. But when I graduated from college, I had a small celebration. When I went to graduate school, I had a small celebration. When I got into medical school, I celebrated. When I graduated, I celebrated. Although my goal is to become a surgeon, but celebrating the small steps that I've achieved propelled me and gave me energy for the next step. It rewards me. The brain works by feedback. When you rejoice at the small steps, you are motivated for the next step. That's why the scripture says we should not despise the days of small beginning. For instance, one of my children is going to be graduating from elementary school. Elementary school, in the scheme of things, it might be minor, but I'm already excited. I'm showing him that I'm excited, and it's motivating him. For middle school, it's motivating him for college. He wants to be a doctor like his dad, but I'm celebrating just the fact that he's graduating from elementary school. So that is the purpose. It motivates you for the next step, motivates you to achieving the ultimate life goal.
Thank you very much, sir. I have a question for Dr. Adepoju, sir. And it's like, he said, the question goes like, you should give an example of how our personality affects any of our makeups and differences. You say personalities. Okay, I am melancholy, or I am very quiet. How does that make up me or my differences? And how do we adjust? We're talking of personality, but we need to like have a one that will propel us forward, right? If my question is okay. So how do we make up that the differences, sir?
I will give you an example that you can relate with. You are a man, right? And you are in the US. There's a difference in a man that is a power driven. That means when I mean power, choleric person in Nigeria. You can be a man in Nigeria and be choleric, and you are still okay. But you know that's a double choleric, because in Nigeria, the man has the authority and controls everything. But if you have to deal with an American here, and you know your values are different, even though you are choleric, your shade of being choleric is different. Because a man that was born here is probably not as heady as a man. I don't mean it negatively. So those are those things. So when you talk about a choleric in Nigeria and a choleric in America, even though they have the choleric personality, they'll still be different. The one in America is with the reality of, if I don't want to be thrown out of my house, I have to make sure my wife is happy. And I hope there are some women on the platform too. I'm sure they are hailing me now for saying that, right? Women. So that's where personality comes in. And when I was doing my presentation, I also related the personality when it comes to learning. People who are choleric, they learn by, well, let me take that back. People who are perfect people, that everything has to be, those are the people who tell you, where is it written? I want to see where it's written. You see the relevance of it? And if your learning style is different, it has a lot. So even if you have the same personality, there are some other factors that makes you different. And that's why I emphasize the issue of dealing with people. So many times you just have to sit back and see how you can deal with people better. Even when you have different personalities, there are so many other differences that you have. Or somebody that's a choleric, that has a, let me say, choleric temperament, which is a power temperament, and has health issue. It's not the same as a person that has choleric and the health is perfect. So even as much as you want to lord over the person that does not have good health, you have to minimize it. And those are the dynamics of how you have to balance all of those things. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you very much, sir. Engineer Ademokun, sir, I saw you raise your hands up.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone, and glad to be here. And thank you to the two professors. God bless you. It's an honor to be under your tutelage. I just wanted to react a little bit. Possibly like ask a question. I'm posing my question to Apostle Professor Adigile. In the area of celebrating, celebrating oneself, celebrating achievement, I don't think the question is, should we celebrate ourselves? I think we should. I think everybody, or most culture will understand and agree with celebrating others or celebrating yourself, which acts as a catalyst towards what, future. However, to what extent is that's where the fine line is between cultures. To what extent do I celebrate, celebrating to the extent that I go and rent a big hall and spend $50,000, just because I got a bachelor's degrees? Or, just like you said about your son who is going to be graduating shortly, do you now, go and get a yacht for that boy to enjoy, that kind of a thing? Or the celebration just ends at, or there should be a level of where we attain that, and we are comfortable saying, yes, I have celebrated myself, since it's personal. I just wanted a little bit of clarification.
Yes, thank you, engineer, for asking that question so that everybody gets the gist of what we are saying. In everything, we have to be moderate. There are some people that are excessive in the celebration and spend a lot of money unnecessarily. When it calls for renting a hall, like for a wedding or graduation, in that case, we can spend money, we can be moderate in how much we spend. But most of the time when we celebrate, it's not necessarily spending money or going out to eat or dancing. It's just to reflect on how you have started, how God has brought you through, and how you have achieved one step out of your several goals. For instance, when I was celebrating my impending son's graduation from elementary school, we didn't spend $1 yet. I showed him the picture that him and I took on the first day of first grade, which was about 5 years ago. He was smaller, he was cuter, and he just brought back memories. And the fact that his dad is happy that he's graduated from high school excited him. So it motivates him for the next step of middle school. So it doesn't mean that we should go all out or be inappropriate. What some people do, they spend too much money on events or too much expense on this or that. But we just take a moment to reflect on how we started, how we did this step, some of the challenges we had to overcome, some of the victories along the way, and how you have achieved the first step of many steps. So that's celebrating is a matter of your heart and your mind, not necessarily spending inordinate amount of money. We need to celebrate each step, celebrating in your heart by reflecting.
Thank you very much. Somebody submitted a question on the chat box for Dr. Babalola. And the question is for Dr. Babalola, how do you balance your spoken accent in the country in which you reside?
Well, that's a very good question, and in a real way. Different people have different approach to this. Because of my background, I know that language center in the brain is formed when you are about 2 or 3 years old. If you grew up in a different country, you are most likely going to be speaking in a particular accent for the rest of your life. Some people are able to change it a little. Some people will never be able to change their accent. It doesn't devalue them, although they have challenge because of the bias of society. And I'm going to approach it in different ways. When you know you have an accent, you should know that you probably will need to speak a little slower than most people when you are communicating with somebody not familiar with your accent. You need to be able to read their face. These are some of the things I did when I was in medical school, for instance. If I'm answering a question and the professor is starting to frown, I have to know that maybe he's not understanding me. Then you have to know alternate ways of saying the same thing. If you say it this way, they seem to not be understanding you. You have to repeat yourself slower. You have to say it a different way. And you may need to change a little bit of the accent, that the way you used to speak in your home country. When I came to this country, I wanted to become what God is laying on my mind to become. But because of who I am, and this does not apply to everybody, I decided I'm not going to change my accent. I was edgy about it, but people are telling me my accent is a little bit different. But some areas of business or work will need for you to learn to speak with the accent of the new country that you are. You can change it a little bit because you want to just communicate. If you want to communicate, you say it the way the person will understand, whether it's grammar or the accent. But it doesn't necessarily mean you change everything about you, but you have to be able to communicate. You need to speak. If I'm speaking to an American, I say words like an American will say. But if I'm speaking to Venezuelan, if I'm speaking to Nigerian, if I'm speaking to a Briton, I may have to change it again. So it's a challenge, but you have to recognize your accent is formed when you are young. And it's going to be difficult on average for people to change their accent. Actually, there are schools in the United States that teach you how to adapt the American accent. My youngest son, who was born in the United States, we went to UK 1 year, and I quickly recognized in a person's accent from my home country. And I told him that person is from Nigeria. He said, "How did you know?" I said, "He's speaking with a Nigerian accent." So my son turned to me and said, "Daddy, why am I not speaking with a Nigerian accent when I'm Nigerian?" I said, "Because you were born in the United States and all your most friends are speaking an accent. And you spent your 2-3 years in the United States when the language center is formed." He said, "Daddy, why did you not take me to Nigeria when I was 2 years old?" Now I am stuck with an American accent. So that's another perspective. If he identifies as Nigerian, he was born in the United States, has only been to Nigeria once, but he wanted to have a Nigerian accent, and he felt I should have taken him to Nigeria when he was 2 years old. So we have to approach it with communication. You need to communicate. You need to say things the way they will understand without necessarily giving up all of your life.
Thank you very much, sir. That accent thing is like you said, is a little bit yeah, complicated, but yeah, we need to. It depends on where you want to go. If somebody wants to be in showbiz, want to be an actress, and you're from Nigeria, definitely you can't be speaking your Nigerian accent here. I remember watching this lady, Bob's Asabishola. The lady could speak with British accent, she could speak with Nigerian accent, and she could speak with American accent easily. How do you do this thing? So, like you just mentioned, there's a school for all those things. Thank you very much, sir. Our next question is for Dr. Adepoju, and it goes this way. We see, yeah, we have another message, but it goes this way, sir. For Dr. Adepoju, does it mean that if I am task-oriented, or task-driven, or a manager, I should be able to, I should just stick to it. The way you give us the message, oh, yes, you don't need to change, right? Am I right or wrong?
Well, if you listen very well to my presentation, I said that whatever you are naturally, you don't need to work on it. But to get the best of both worlds, you have to adopt what you are not. What you are naturally, if you're a task-driven person, that means most times the feelings of people don't matter to you. But knowing very well that you need people to get anywhere, you have to be able to relate with people in spite of being task-driven. So you can be whoever you are naturally. It's good to know who you are so that you know where you need to work on. I would say naturally, I'm a people person, people-motivated person, and I relate with people very easily. And I know my shortcomings is I'm not as detailed as other people. And I make that, even at my job, I always make that known, that I'm not a detailed person, but when it has to be detailed, I always ask people who I know are detailed to help me out. That please look through this thing if anything is missing out. You know, aside from being conscious of being detailed, I always have to ask for help where I know that I need help. So that's why it's important to know who you are, so you know what your shortcomings are. And what is the best of both worlds. If somebody can do something better than me, I prefer to give it that person to do it and pay for them and do what I know to do best and let that person, you know. So it's a mind thing, you know, when you need help, always ask for help. It doesn't make you any less. It just makes you get the best of both worlds. And, you know, it allows even the world itself to be a better place when you give people a chance. In my department where I lead, I know everybody's personality. So if we are going to have like engagement or a party, I know to call on the person that's a popular person. It's because I know that's their area of strength, right? So that's the person that will do it. And that's the price of leadership. If anybody can do anything better than myself, I don't have to be there. I don't, and that's why I say you cannot do everything. You can be better at what you don't know how to do, but you cannot be the best at what you don't know how to do. You can only be the best in the area of your strength.
Thank you very much, sir. It seems people are reacting to this accents thing. So another question for my dear professor. It says that from Mr. Oladare Oyenuga, he says, but other people from other continents speak their accents. Then in brackets, Jamaican. The American does nothing about it. Maybe I should ask the person to come up if you can unmute yourself, sir, and explain further so that Mr. Professor
Well,
would.
A lot of people came from different places in the world to the United States. People still have that accent. There are people from Nigeria that have Nigerian accent in the United States. There are people from Jamaica that have Jamaican accent. But you have to understand to what degree you can afford to stay the same way you are. For instance, I said when I came to this country, I decided I'm not going to change my accent because I felt, well, I gave up my country, I gave up my friends to come to the United States, I gave up my family. I don't want to give up my accent. But in retrospect, I should not have been that strict and hard about it. The most important thing is there is a mainstream way of speaking. And over the years, I don't speak like a British person that much. I slightly speak like what an American will speak. I don't say better anymore. I say better. You have to make changes that to help you to communicate. I don't like the fact that there is bias to accent. I don't like the fact that there is prejudice to accent, but there is. In achieving your goal, you have to minimize how much obstacle you is going to be on your way, how much hindrance you are going to experience. For instance, if I had interviewed for medical school and I could not speak to the satisfaction of the interviewer, who will have marked me down. But I cannot totally change my accent. So you have to be even better in some areas to be seen as equal, which is, there is a bias in the society against race, against accent. It's just a fact. So you have to be twice as good better than the average other person. You have to be better than an American that speaks an American accent to get ahead, to get into this school, get into this training. They wanted to keep surgery all white, lily white. I remember one of my senior class mates in medical school he said to me, John, they want to keep surgery lily white. You and I are going to add color to it. So you have to minimize obstacle that you are going to experience. You cannot change everything about yourself. You cannot stop being existent. You cannot stop being who you are, but you can modify your accent. So as much as it's needed to get along, since it's not something unrighteous, it's not something sinful, you need to modify your accent so that people can understand you. So there's no less obstacle in your way. So I will advise people in retrospect, having taken both sides, that you need to speak in a way that people will be able to understand you, people that will be able to receive you, and there will be less obstacle in your way.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Before another person comes up, this is for Dr. Adepoju. Just like rounding up, but before we round up this question, when we really know ourselves, like I know who I am, then how do I impact the society with it? I know I'm hardworking and smart working. I want to work, I want to get money. So in just one or two areas for us to have.
Now, you know, there are, for professionals like myself, I can study somebody within 10, 15 minutes and know who they are. They're always the telltale signs. Or if you look at my PowerPoint down the line, there were some statements that I made that could help you to distinguish who you are. You know, like if you know you are a manager by all of those things, you know that managers look for how to make things perfect. And if you're a manager, there are some professions that you can do a whole lot in. Okay, I will give you an example. If you are somebody that's a manager programmed, you'll probably be good in things that has to do with thinking, you know, internal processing. And if you are a leader, most times you always look at the global picture. That's why because it's so difficult, unless you take a test, you probably will not know. But what I always tell people is, if you want to know yourself, this is very simple. Write to 10 of your friends. Why are you my friend? You will see that at least 7 people will identify the same thing in you. That allows you to know who you are. If 7, 6, 7, 8 people write the same thing about you, that's an area you have to be focused on that you'll be successful at doing. That's a simple way to do it. When I'm teaching classes, I always tell them to do that. It's a simple way. Apart from taking the test, there's a test that I also put together. You know, if I'm in physical training, it has 20 of each of the strengths, 20 of each of the weaknesses. And they will check it and add it together. And whatever they come out to be is who they are. And I will be able to tell them that if you are this, you'll do well doing this profession. You'll be successful. Look at me. I'm more of an interactive person. I did finance. Finance has to do with figures and thinking. That's what pays my bill, because that was what the investment of my life was on at first. I didn't know who I was until I was about 46. Even though that's still what I do, even with the federal government treasury, that's still what I do. But guess what? Sometimes I get tired of doing it. The only thing I don't get tired of doing is when I'm impacting people, because it's natural for me. And you'll be surprised, whatever you have passion for eventually turns out to be money. And I'm not using this as any other thing. I've gone to speak some places and they get so impacted. And I speak for 1 hour and they give me $5,000. How many dollars an hour is that? You can't compare that to me putting 40 hours every week into the treasury. And I probably, no, I don't want to say, you know, so your area of passion, the area, if you are in doubt anyway, and you have not taken a personality test, and you have not taken a gifting test, write to 10 of your friends, why do you like me? Or why are you my friend? And I bet you minimum of 6 will say the same thing about you. And that's an easy way to know who you are. I hope that answers your question.
To some extent, you said that what we have passion in doing.
Right.
But I'm afraid to ask this question that it's not everything that we have, or I don't want to say it is not, but do you think that everything that we have passion for will bring us money?
Of course.
Today.
Of course it will. Because let me tell you, whatever you do, it may not be physical money, but there are some things you impact people is worth more than money. If I'm able to impact somebody today and it makes a difference in their life, it's not money, but it is money because it has improved their life some kind of way. And even as Christians, God has sent us for a purpose. Okay, why are you living if God has created you to do something and you are not doing it? So it's beyond money, but it's money in the sense that it's not physical money to you. But when you are able to impact lives, it's money. It can be translated into money. Like I've been to places where I used to have a youth program many years ago, and some of them are graduates now. They'll just walk up to me. Pastor Adepoju, you remember you taught me that thing changed my life forever. I said, good. The gladness my soul I've accomplished because the reason why God created me has been fulfilled in somebody. And let me share something with you. And Wale, I know you that you know this. My ambition in the world is not to be rich. My ambition is to impact as many lives as I can during my lifetime. And that is why a session like this is so important to me, because it's an opportunity to impact somebody. So when I mean money, I'm not saying dollar, naira, or pound sterling. Money sometimes may not be about physical money, but your satisfaction with what you have done. And when I'm talking about passion too, to make it easy, I said, what do you love to do? And you enjoy doing it, and do it. Continue to do it. Anything that you love to do and you enjoy when you are doing. I mean, that's your passion. And it's easy. Either you pay attention or not. All right?
Like Dr. Adepoju just said, you need to identify your passion and pursue it. You may have more than one passion in your life.
Right.
For instance, my former pastor had a daughter that was passionate about journalism and wanted to study journalism in college, but his dad didn't want her to do that, and his dad asked me to talk to her. So I explained the difference between putting passion number one ahead of passion number two. She has skill to become a nurse, but she's more passionate about becoming a journalist. And the major she's thinking of studying journalism has a higher unemployment rate and underemployment rate than nursing. So I suggested that she should put her passion number two as her career and put journalism as number two. So when she becomes a nurse, she will be even invited to write articles as a nurse, speak as a nurse. If she studied journalism, she will love it for a few years, but start having trouble. For instance, I have two passions. I call them M1 and M2. My first passion is ministry. That is what brings me the most joy, most fulfillment, most passion. But M2 is medicine. I needed to have something that I would do to pay my bills so that I am not anxious, and cynical. So if I had not understood or helped by the Spirit of God that I should put M2 as my career and make M1 my passion and my first goal in life, I may have had trouble. Other people are led and are directed differently because that's what they want to do. So you have to have passion, but then you have to now say which one should be your career that provides livelihood and which one should be your life goal. My first passion is ministry, and my first passion is missions, but my medical practice is where I chose my second passion as my career.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's go on quickly. Time is going up. We don't want to spend more time. I have this question. Somebody has this question for Professor Adeginle. I say that, how do we document our progress? How do we document our life activities? Just say, do I need to, like, every day, I woke up 5 a.m., I did this, I did that. What kind of documentation do you advise us to do?
It's going to be difficult to do a day-to-day documentation, and that's not what we have in mind. It's you need to document when you have a life goal. You need steps along the way that you need to take to achieve that goal. It might be 10 steps, it might be 5 steps. And you need to document the step 1. And when you achieve step 1, you need to document how did you achieve it? What are the challenges you had in trying to achieve it? What are the lessons that you learned? What are the strategies that work? Because those documentation will help you for the next step, step 2. What you've learned, what skills you have acquired, what strategies you used in the past that you can translate to a different situation. So, and to motivate your children, the youth around you, and the next generation, documenting how you did things and achieve things help them to get a revelation of how they also can achieve. That's how you make impact, and that's how you leave a legacy. For instance, some years ago, I wrote my biography and had my children read it, and other people read it. And a lot of people tell me they were inspired by it, which I thank God. Looking back myself, I could not believe what God had done. So these are some of the things that benefit yourself and other people when you document your steps, your goals, your achievements, and your aspirations.
Thank you very much, sir. Somebody wrote something on the chat box about our assets. Just let me read it for people. And before I read it, please, anybody that wants the slide of shows of this webinar today, please submit your email address on the chat box before the end of the program, or go to PeterAbigailFoundation.org. That is the website of our foundation. Go there and submit your email address so that we can send the chat to you. So let's go ahead. So the statement is, my understanding about assets actually has more to do with enunciation. The ability to speak clearly is what is most important. Even when you adapt your speech, there will always be imprints of your accent. An Italian American sounds completely different from an Irish American if you are really listening. There is not only generally acceptable accent in this country, I mean, in the United States of America, where we are now. In fact, I have met many people who say they really admire the Nigerian accents. That is the beauty of the United States of America, of the US. So let's go. Anybody that have questions, please indicate so that we can give you the go ahead to ask questions in the next 1 or 2 minutes, or else we are going to ask our speakers to give us a last minute talk before we go. We don't have anything now to say. We thank our speakers for all these things that they have done. I believe that's okay. Who wants to speak? Please unmute yourself and go forward. Unmute if you want to speak, so that if you want to ask question, Mr. Ademokun, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you to the presenters. I just wanted to talk about accent. Yes, and the speakers have done justice to it very well. But because there are so many of us who, when I gained something today, I didn't know that you have that within the first 3 years of your life. I just know that I've been over 30 years before I came to this country, and I just give up that I can't change it. But there's something that is very profound that I just want every one of us to know. By the grace of God, I've been opportune to speak in different places. And in 2011, that was after 1 year of my being in the United States, I was made to come and do a teaching in my former office. And then the first thing that came to my mind was, how will I even teach? I just came, it was like barely 1 year, and I had to teach a course, an engineering course. So the first thing was the challenge of how to face the crowd and how for them to understand what I was saying. So and that, because it came at very, early stage of my being in the United States, taught me a lesson. I got to the class first, and the first thing I said was, I'm sorry if there's anything I say that you don't understand, please ask me again. I'll put it on the board. I understand that everybody's, my accent might not be clear to everybody. So that boldness came, and I spoke there, and that was one of the best classes that I have trained so far. So, and eventually it went well. So here's what I wanted to say. Apart from knowing and understanding that it's not your fault, and the fact that you grow up, you were born this way, and that here you are not deprived. It's not like you are at a depriving end. Being bold to say to be where you are has a lot to say about our relating with others and relating with our peers and professionals in the United States. Been at different fora, different meetings where I have to get up and speak, and I've never been scared of speaking. It doesn't matter. I would still say just like Doctor said, there are certain things like saying matter. Now I say matter, like hospital, and instead of saying hospital, those kind of a thing. There will be some little things that you will modify, but you can never take the accent away from the way you talk, and it should not be seen as a deprivation. Like, hey, I can't speak very well, my accent, as long as you are grounded in the topic that you are discussing and you know exactly what you are saying, say it and people will listen to you. If they don't hear it the first time, like Doctor said, say it slowly, and just be bold. And because I've seen a lot of our people, they just because of that, they just relegate themselves and they don't want to speak. I don't want to speak so that people will not know that, my accent and all this. I just wanted to throw that out there if it helped anybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other person want to ask questions? Please indicate.
Yes, thank you very much, professors, for the wonderful presentations we've had. I just wanted to follow up on the little note I dropped, just to piggyback on what Engineer Ademokun just said. I'm into entertainment, and I've interacted with a lot of people here in the States for a number of years. I think the major challenge we have is our inability to
last question.
speak clearly.
I would like to say something, please.
We need.
I would like to say.
When we go back to Nigeria, remember the days of vernacular speaking and all that.
Okay.
We robbed ourselves of a lot of good because we are so desperately trying to ape the white man. And when you come to an environment like this, that you have virtually every tongue in the world, in this country. The beauty of it is that we are influenced, that most of what we say is influenced by where we are coming from. But if we present it with dignity, like we're all Nigerians. If some Nigerians speak, you will appreciate how they speak. And if some people speak, you say, oh my goodness, can't you try and polish your words a little bit? You know? So the issue is not really the accent. The issue is how we present it. And the emphasis we place on making sure that our words are pronounced properly, because there is no way you can change your tongue. I mean, Professor said it clearly. Once you go past the age of 2, 3, it's a bit too late already. If people are able to change their tongue at that time, it might be one out of very many. But what matters at the end of the day is that you are able to speak clearly, because a British man will not come to America and say he wants to change his British accent to American accent. It will never happen. And they do that to us a lot as Africans. I'm telling you, I've met so many people who will say, I really love the way Africans speak. And these are white people, you know? So I think we have to get to a point where we are more relaxed, and anywhere we are, we shine our light with confidence. And then, you know, they begin to also understand that we're also human beings. We also have the right to stand our own ground and speak the way we want to speak. You know, it doesn't mean we are not looking into what they're doing, because if for instance, I don't say better anymore like that. You say better, you know. But even when I say that in a particular construct, as a student of linguistics, the rhythm of your words, the way you speak it and the way you enunciate, you'll find out that anybody that is not from my background will tell you, no, that sounds different. You know, so no matter what we do, however much we try to adapt, we will still see reflections of who we are in most of these things. So that's what I really hope that most of us will begin to really do, and even spread to our children, to make sure that they speak with confidence. And, you know, thank you. That's all I just wanted to add there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Tope. Okay, please go ahead, ma'am. We want to speak.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to reiterate on what Dr. Babalola just said. The most important thing for us, if we know that we have that accent and we are going to be talking to people, we are going to be relevant, we do not want to cut ourselves short. We need to better on our accents. We need to find areas where the pronunciation is weak. We need to work on it. We can't just, because I'm going to give you an example. I was working with a guy, a Chinese guy, and this guy is an engineer. He's an engineer from China, and he was doing security. He was doing a security job. And where we were working, we had a light out, a cutoff. The power was cut, and we need to call 911 or the fireplace. And this guy came to me, he walked to me, because I was the one supervising those jobs. And he came to me and said to me, oh, don't call the 911, I'll fix it. Don't call the fire department, I will fix it. I said, well, how are you going to fix it? I was just so skeptical. I said, okay, go ahead and fix it. Within 2 minutes, this guy went in there. He went into the power room and fixed it. And I was like, wow. So that got me interested to start talking to him. Then he told me he's an engineer, he's very qualified, and he has been interviewing, even with the Verizon. It was a Verizon building. And he said he had interviewed so many times with the Verizon director, but they never called him because of his accent. And that was so painful. So I told him, I said, you know what, like you rightly said, go to school, go get go to accent school or whatever school is available, go and try and, better it off. Because to be honest with you, if our accent is not right, we cannot, communicate rightly, we will cut ourselves short. We will not get the job we are looking for. We will not be placed right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Pastor Wade, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. We'll come to the end of the seminar, the webinar this afternoon. But before we go, I want to give our speakers 2 minutes to give us the take-home points for us to go before we close the webinar. Thank you very much, sir. So, Dr. Adepoju, over to you.
Yes, I don't need 2 minutes. I need 15 seconds. I'm going to leave this word with everybody today, that you should know that there's no one that has a gift of everything, but everyone has a gift of something. Look for your gift, and that will help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Professor Babalola.
Thank you very much for the opportunity of speaking to such an august audience. I want you to discover your life purpose. I want you to work at achieving your life purpose. It was Lord Tennyson that said, aim at perfection in all things. Though in many things, perfection is unattainable. But those who aim at it and persevere will come much nearer to it than those whose laziness and despondency has made them to give it up as unattainable.